phone to see if we had any more signers, but. right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Alamance Foods in Burlington. I want to extend a big thank you to Bill Scott Jr. on behalf of Alamance Foods for hosting us this morning. We're trying to find a large enough venue to include the signers that we have on this letter. So it's my honor to present the Alamance Leaders Coalition on the Confederate Monument in Courthouse Square in Graham. We'd like to issue the following statement. We as leaders in Alamance County recognize that we have a role to take the necessary and timely action needed to ensure that our county is an inclusive, equitable, and welcoming place for people to thrive, conduct business, pursue an education, and live fulfilling lives. The Confederate Monument in Courthouse Square of Graham currently stands at the symbolic heart of our county, at the epicenter of our government. While this artifact undeniably is part of our history, to many in our community, it represents an ideology incompatible with equality. The history of Confederate monuments in the United States is complex. While many believe they exist simply to honor fallen soldiers, in actuality, they were erected at a time of fervent white supremacy. The monument's prominent location before a house of justice, an entity which has historically failed to serve our communities of color with equality, perpetuates this symbol as a barrier to the inclusion we aspire to achieve. As municipalities and counties around us have taken action to remove their monuments, the Alamance County Monument draws ever-increasing notoriety and represents an increased potential for violence. Now is the time to take decisive action to relocate this monument. We are at a crossroads. As leaders, we want the county to move forward to a bright, prosperous future and not cling to a symbol that will inevitably hold us back. The county manager has wisely warned of the risks of deadly violence and recommended that the monument be relocated. We wholeheartedly agree and support urgent action. The future of our community hangs in the balance. Bold and inclusive leadership is needed now more than ever. We stand together in this request, and we invite other leaders to join us in this call to action. We hereby call upon the Alamance County Commissioners and the City Council of Graham to take action to relocate this monument in a respectful and appropriate manner. Relocation of the monument will remove the public safety threat that has been created by this symbol in the Courthouse Square of Graham. This time I'd like to read the names of the signers on this letter, which now exceed 50. Myself, Mayor Ian Baltutis, Mayor Ed Hooks, Mayor Lenny Williams, Mayor Carissa Graves Henry, Jim Powell, President Connie Book, President Emeritus Leo Lambert, School Board Member Patsy Simpson, School Board Member Steve Van Pelt, School Board Member Brian Feely, School Board Member Wayne Beam, Kathy Coville with Cone Health, Alderman Quinn Ray, Alderman Emily Sharp, CEO Doug Williams, President Bill Scott Jr., Chair-elect Leandra N. Ratliff, Mayor Pro Tem Jill Auditore, Councilmember Sean Ewing, Councilmember Patty Phillips, President Barrett Brown, President Jim Bryan, Senior VP Preston Hammock, Chief Nursing Officer Laverne Delaney, Executive VP Mandy Eaton, Director Laura Vale, Griffin McClure, Jason Cox, Lee Kimry, Mayor Pro Tem Kathy Hikes, Reverend Anita Thompson, Reverend Tamara Kersey Brown, Reverend Gwendolyn Benjamin, Reverend Jay Kennett, Reverend Beth Kennett, President Ken Smith, Secretary Tamara Kersey, Incoming Treasurer Lauren Keir, At-Large Board Member Gabrielle LeGrand, John Curran, Yun Boylston, Lisa Pennington, Mark Gordon, Reverend Dr. Bridget Gloucester, Reverend Dr. Clay Gloucester Jr., Pastor A. Oxford Carmichael Jr., President Mac Williams, David K. Mertz, David Carter, Chair of the School Board Allison Gant, and School Board Member Tony Rose. press will be furnished with an electronic copy as well as a physical copy of this list. For those leaders wishing to join us in this call to action, they can contact my office, Mayor of the City of Burlington, at 336-222-5020 or eyebaltutus@burlingtonnc.gov. I want to thank everyone for being here. At this time, I'm going to turn the microphone over to President of Elon University, Connie Book.
Thank you, Mayor Baltutis, for your leadership today and for the other leaders in joining us today in this important forward step for Alamance County. So I'd like to just share the statement that I've shared with our campus today. Today I am joining leaders from across Alamance County in signing a letter asking the Alamance County Commissioners to relocate the Confederate Monument in Courthouse Square in downtown Graham. This monument has long been a source of conflict in our community, and it stands as a symbol of racism for many. I want to be clear on Elon University's position that members of the Black community and other people of color in Alamance County deserve an inclusive and equitable environment. They deserve an environment in which they feel safe and protected by our justice system, to conduct business, to pursue an education, and fulfill their lives. The Confederate Monument is a barrier to realizing this goal. The state of North Carolina and many other cities across the nation have taken similar actions with historic monuments We are recommending removal of this monument in a respectful manner to a more appropriate location that places it in proper historical context. I am joining educational leaders, elected officials, and business leaders from across Alamance County in making this request of the county commissioners. Also joining me on behalf of Elon in signing this letter is President Emeritus Leo Lambert. Our society is becoming more fully aware of the stark realities of racism and injustice. Now is the time for truth, healing, and a new commitment to the principles of liberty and justice for all. I am committed and cannot fully achieve the aspirations of our democracy with divisive symbols such as the Confederate Monument in Graham in our midst. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to welcome Laverne Delaney, Chief Nursing Officer for Alamance Regional Medical Center.
Hello, I would like to thank you all for having me here today, and I want to say that I do, as well as other leaders in the community, support the relocation of the monument, as we need to make a stand and move towards positivity versus negativity, and make sure that our community is served in the best way possible so that we can have justice for all. So I thank you for having me here today.
Now I'd like to welcome President Jim Bryan of Fairy Stone Fabrics.
Good morning, everybody. As an employer here in Alamance County, I just wanted to make sure that One of the things that makes Alamance County so special is that we look after each other. We provide a positive place for all our employees to come to work. This statue represents some important historical issues, but also some controversial ones. So we want to make this a positive place for everybody to work, and so I support this motion.
The final speaker we have this morning is Dr. Dorothy Yarborough with the Alamance NAACP.
Good morning, and thank you so much. I wish I could say that I am extremely happy to be here, but because of the occasion we're here, it is certainly not a happy one. I am speaking to you on behalf of our president of the NAACP, Mr. Barrett Brown. The NAACP stands for justice and equality for all. Not just Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. We have seen in the past few weeks that that certainly is not happening. We see what we think is to be friction, and we are calling for peace, we are calling for love, we are calling for justice. It is ridiculous for us to have to continue to wear shirts that says Black Lives Matter when we say all lives matter. It certainly is. We don't want to be here having to talk about a monument that is only causing, creating more disturbance. We want to create peace. We want to create justice. We want to create equality. We are not for violence, and we are not for tearing down a monument. We see it as peacefully and safely moving the monument. So that is the position of the NAACP. Years ago, Peter, Paul, and Mary sang a song that said, "If I had a hammer." And they said, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd sing in the morning if I had a hammer, and I'd sing about justice. Well, we do have one. We have a song that we can sing together about love. We have a hammer that we can use to hammer out peace. And we have a bell that we can ring about justice. And what we ought to be doing, instead of marching in the streets, having police to have to watch the monument, paying taxpayers' money, when we could certainly use that money for education, health care for seniors, and the dollars could be used more effectively, is to hammer out justice by moving the monument to a safe and peaceful place. Thank you very much.
This concludes our press conference. Myself and a number of other signers will be available in the audience for further comment. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending.